looks brilliant, give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy by the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. And there you are at my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. Toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy by the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. You get it. Just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat of time, I press the lens just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't leave a stay. Then I drown with a color play in the rain. I feel like I'm fading. Come on, give it all you got. You're trying to save me, but you make it no worse. Every time you hear these words, I'll be down the road, cause I know the odds are better on my side. I don't want you to try to be wise. I'm calling you cry. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart bleeds a beat of time, I press the lens just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Marvel Talk. I am usually the guy. I'm usually sitting over there on the screen. Yeah, so I am your co-host, Andre C. This week, Ed is out due to personal issues, can't make the show tonight. So happily, I am joined here by one of my best friends, Peggy. How you doing, Peggy? Ophelia
I'm
Payne.
doing well. I am not old Ed. I am Ophelia Payne, and I am filling in, and I'm going to wing it. So let's go.
So, if you do see the title of this episode, we are here to talk about episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again. Before we get into that, I got to ask you, how are you enjoying this series so far overall? Because
I love it.
The first episode. Yeah,
absolutely love it. I tuned into the show last week, and I agree with everything you guys were saying. Like I was telling you earlier too, I don't follow the comics or anything, so I'm pretty much going in, no pun intended, blind. And so I'm really enjoying everything that I've seen so far from this show. And I didn't keep up on the Netflix stuff either, so I had to watch some recap things before I started this season on Disney. But yeah, I'm really, really happy, and I'm really excited to know that we're getting a second season right away. So I'm not, I don't feel like this is going to be rushed. So
it's already filming. I think it's already started.
Yeah,
filming, so,
absolutely.
Yeah. And dude, already stuff from this episode, I'm going, how are we going to pay it off for the rest of the season, and what's going to come next season with some of the stuff that just happened on this one episode, what it
Mhm.
can mean for next season. So a lot is here, a lot is happening. So let's get into it. Let's talk some Daredevil Born Again episode 3. I
Mhm.
cannot remember what this episode is called.
In the hollow of his hand, I
The
think.
hollow, yeah, the hollow of his hands. Yeah, I literally clicked the screen as you said it. Yeah, the hollow of his hands. I thought again, this was a courtroom drama this time around. It's been very different because we've only had what 10 minutes of Daredevil, 15 minutes of Daredevil, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. He pretty much gave up the mantle in the very first like 15-20 minutes of the first episode, and we haven't seen him really, other than staring at the little horn from time to time, haven't really seen much in the way of him coming back to be Daredevil. So I am very intrigued.
Yeah, so again, to do the recap with him getting into the fight with the cops at the end of the last episode in what was his name? Nikki's apartment, with the witness to the crime, or the
Mhm.
guy that was getting beat up by the cops. So it opens with a truck pulling up to a dock and two guys trying to rob the truck. And the one guy says, "Do you know who this truck belongs to?" And the one guy just laughs, and then you just hear a gunshot, and the driver's face just gets covered in blood, and I'm just like, "Ooh."
Okay.
I was like, "Okay, we're opening it dark," and then it pans away, and bang, another shot happens. So you're obviously killing the driver here.
Yeah, I
It's like,
loved that whole scene where he was like, "Hey, you want to give me the keys to this truck?" And then he was like, "Oh, and yeah, maybe your wallets too." And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
I like the fact that he was really cheeky about it, but you could tell he's very serious while being
Mhm.
cheeky. It gives that it gives a Spider-Man feel, like cartoon Spider-Man feel almost, like cheeky but serious at the same
Cocky,
time.
like those comic book villains, right? Like
Yeah,
they're always sort of that way.
yeah. And then so they go to, and eventually we see Kingpin and his wife, I think Veronica. Yeah,
Yes.
Vanessa.
Vanessa.
My brain is broken today. Let's just say that.
I kept thinking Victoria, so I wasn't far. It's like one of us would get it.
We got it. I looked at the other screen. Yeah, Vanessa and Kingpin are talking over breakfast, and she mentions something. Mentions it being this truck being stolen.
Mhm.
Um, because there's nobody in charge, because she's obviously taken a step back. From as I see this, it seems like she's taken a step back as even being the new Kingpin, because they're trying to work on their marriage. So it was interesting just to know, okay, she's even stepped back, so everything's in chaos.
Yeah, she's like, if nobody's in charge, then what was it that the rats were going to kill each other, and then they were going to come for them, basically, right? Because nobody was in charge.
Yeah. Um, and again, they're talking. She mentions about, I don't know what they were talking about, but they talk about buying something. He's like, "Yeah, the other one." She's like, "Yeah, I could use that to launder a bunch of money." And he's just like, "No, no, 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 no." I was
Yeah,
just like,
they didn't really reference what it was they were buying that I've noticed, just that they were buying one. And I was like, is this what business is this that they're going through? So
yeah, I don't know if it's a business, but like it's a product they could buy. Maybe it means something
that's
they could
also
buy,
possibly like
and
artwork or something. Yeah.
yeah, put your dirty money through that way. I'm not sure. So from here we get into the courtroom drama of it all. We get Matt in the bathroom. He gets talked to by the cop that he fought in the last episode, the one that was assaulting Nikki, and Hector fought. And he's kind of like just try. He's like, "You don't need those glasses in here." Just like you can see, it's like,
Are you talking to me? Like he plays the blind card, you know what I mean? Like,
Wait,
yeah.
well, yeah. It's, again, he has the echolocation. He can see images and
I like that they were just reminding you though, right? Like, are
yeah,
you talking to me? Like, yeah.
and kind of like getting in his face, but Matt kind of gets the one up, which I really like, because he's so much smarter
Yes.
than this cop, and he uses every bit of it in this scene, and it's absolute perfection. So then we go. It jumps over to the safe house. Cherry's bringing the guy drugs to make sure he doesn't like. Was it called Coke Zero or something? Did he say?
Yeah, so you can manage to stay awake or whatever it is. It's just like, oh goodness.
and then so they go to Officer Powell, the cop, Officer Powell in the stand. Matt does this whole thing, questioning him, and then he brings up Nikki. The CI, and he kind of almost traps him in the lie, but he says, "No, I don't know him." He's like, "But you used him," and it's kind of playing that whole little thing here. I like, again, he's outsmarting this dude because it's like he makes him look stupid.
Yeah, catching him in the lie with, you said you were alone. It was just the two of you. The fact that, they talked about flashing their badges, like, I mean, all the things that we know didn't happen. And to make sure that they would catch him in the lie, because, I mean, everybody knows. I mean, we've watched it. We know that they were not alone there, and we know that there was no badges shown.
Yeah, and then Cherry and the other cop, I forget his name.
Me too. Yeah.
They take Nikki to the courthouse, and it turns into a chase. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's
no worries.
ringer.
Yeah, so we hear we see Matt being able to hear that the cops are saying Nikki cannot make it to the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's how we know that, something is about to go down, and we see, them loading him into the truck to take him to court.
Yeah, and then it turns into a little bit of a chase scene. They eventually pull over Cherry, and the cops puts a badge up, and he's like, and then Cherry just pulls out his badge from showing off, and this cop does not care, doesn't give two shits that Cherry's a former cop. He just opened up the back, nothing. They pulled the old switcheroo.
Which
dude was never in the car. I loved it. I loved it.
Me too. And then they get out of the yellow cab, the most, stereotypical. No one would know that they were in a yellow cab. You know what I mean? So,
and because you see the guy get out, and the cop says, "Let's go," and you see the kind of guy go like he's like,
yeah.
I honestly believe he expected to get picked up by the cops.
Yes,
I don't think he thought they were going to outsmart the cops here.
Yeah, I agree. No. I agree. The look on his face, he wasn't so sure he was making it there either.
Yeah, it almost looked like a face of disappointment, because he's expecting to get picked up by the cops to not have to do this. Is the way I got the feel off of this dude.
Which we definitely see play out when he eventually takes the stand.
Yeah. So Nikki starts testifying. Matt asks him if he was there, and he lies.
Well, how would you not, with the cops all staring you down? That had to be very intimidating.
And I love the point of, he asks the question, and it says, "You're under oath," and it's that Matt tunes in to listen to the heartbeat, and you can hear the heartbeat getting faster. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely love that. And then he just "No, I was never there." And I really did like, and you just see this look on, this look on Matt's face, on Hector's face, on what's her name? His new partner, Kristen's face. It's this pure just disappointment from all three. They're all just what? And he does it. They did not expect this. He saved his life, yet now he's getting screwed over by this dude.
Exactly. That was the part too that I was watching, and I was like, really? Dude, they got you there in one piece. You would be dead, and now you're still choosing to lie and, take the side of the people who were clearly okay with disposing of you.
Yeah. So it cuts to Kingpin and Vanessa, and they're at therapy, and then but the therapist isn't in there yet, and she tells Kingpin that yes, she had his right hand man deliver the 1.8 mil to the gangster, because they showed a little scene of him delivering the money to the gangster, and the kind of guy's like, "I don't listen to you, I listen to Kingpin." I was just like,
"I don't work for Kingpin, I work for the man," was the quote. And I was like, "Who's the man?" And I was like, "Oh my God, the man is not the man is the woman." And I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
she is the king. I think by the end of this series, he is not the major baddie. By the end of this,
No.
she is going to be. She has to be. She's setting herself up in such a way to just be this like evil person by the end of this. She's already a bad person by the end of the Daredevil series, from the original series on Netflix. She is going to be the ultimate villain by the end of this.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they and then they get into an argument. She's saying that she's punishing him for Adam. Again, we still don't know who this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we know she cheated on him with him. But that like we still haven't met this person. And then this is where the therapist comes in and kind of just it just gets super awkward in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's I do not want to be their therapist because that temperature is cold in there.
Yeah. So back in the courtroom, we get Hector on the stand, and this is where Matt starts to question him, asking him why he did everything. He said it's the right thing to do, things like that. And he said, "Well, you've done this before." He's like, "What?" And he says, and he pulls out the costume. "You're the White Tiger, aren't you?" And oh, the DA's pissed, the judge is pissed because he had this stricken in the earlier episodes. So I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh my god.
And I don't know about you, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh, White Tiger's dying. Like, because they have the whole thing about getting rid of the vigilantes and not wanting the vigilantes. So as soon as I saw that come out and he basically exposed him to everybody, I was like, oh no. Oh no. Like,
well, I thought we all believed this character was not going to make it through the series,
mm-hmm.
being that the actor did pass away in real life, so we knew they had to write the character out in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he exposes them, and then they go into the chambers with the judge and the DA, and they're pissed. They're yelling at him, and the DA on the way out says, "I'm on top of a pyramid of like 500 ADAs. You won't be able to go to traffic court without one of them being up your ass."
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. The judge he had enough. You could tell he was just like, he had enough.
Well, he says like I can't call a he's like I can't call a mistrial because it's already out there. I can't have it stricken from the record because it's already in everybody's head. So you can't do anything about it, which is the best part. Like I really liked that part of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Matt goes back to questioning. He's asking him why he does what he does. Then they show it cuts in between questioning Hector and another person who was saved by the White Tiger, and Kristen she's reading a statement from a police officer just saying the White Tiger helped him.
I loved that part, the showing that the cops really were pro White Tiger.
Yeah, again, what they're going for is they're going to be going to the anti-vigilante. There's an anti-vigilante group that is popping up here, and the cops that are doing what they're doing here are part of this anti-vigilante group, right? So, but there's other cops that are fine with them that aren't know that they're not bad people, not doing bad things. So it really gives that reflection there that I really do like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we get the closing statements from the DA and Matt. The DA's closing statement said, "Bad people can do good things, and good people can do bad things." And I'm like,
that is right. Truth. That is the truth.
Yeah. And then when he describes the dude getting hit by the train, oh, that was graphic. Just the description.
Yeah, I was very uncomfortable. I was like, the thought of it, like, he got hit by a train. Okay. And then when he described it, I was not okay. Like, the fact that he didn't die until the train stopped, I was like, oh no, there's a lot here to unpack, and I'm not okay with it.
Like, I didn't need to know.
Yes.
I know if somebody gets hit by a train, they're dead. I didn't need to know that they suffer until the train stops and they
turning into a balloon filled. I was just like, oh, this is a lot to unpack. And I was just all I kept thinking was why did I need to know this? And do I need to look this up to find out if it's true? Because I don't think I really want to know, because I have to assume it is true.
But
And
the
I'm not
problem, if you
okay.
look it up, you're going to see some graphic shit.
Yeah, and I
you
don't need that
definitely
in
don't
my
wanna see it.
life.
Yeah. Um. He goes. He says real heroes don't need to hide behind a mask.
Mhm.
So I know this dude was very much pro Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it ends. They show Matt just sitting in the empty courtroom, kind of like praying, holding something, just hoping for the best. And it cuts back. Everybody's in the courtroom again, and the charges are laid out. On first degree murder, Hector is found innocent. On second degree murder, he is found innocent. And on the charge of manslaughter, he is found innocent. Hector Ayala is free to go. And there's gas, there's cheers. You can see all the cops are just super pissed about this. The people that are on the other side of the gallery are super happy. The ones that are supporting him. I love the juxtaposition of the reactions in there and everything. Yeah.
I love that it really set it up to, like, I mean, when they first talked about why he was at the subway and the fact that he had got an apartment, and it was just, making him this really, really wholesome good guy that you were cheering for the whole way. So because I mean, again, not really knowing everything that's going forward, I was like, okay, so now he's in trouble because he's the white tiger, but he's such a good guy, you can't help but cheer for him.
Yeah. Again, I really, again, happy to see, because again, he's the hero. I didn't really think they're going to put this dude in jail. Again, if you put him in jail for life, it takes the character out of the show. You don't have her and again, it would be another way to take this character, who we're never going to see again, out of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But having him exist in prison for, if you know the comics, the eventual White Tigers, which are his sister,
yes,
and his niece, who he does live with. He said he lives with them,
which I thought was a nice tie-in, because I knew that as well. So I was like, I wonder if this is the sister.
Yeah. So he makes those comments, and so it would if he was alive, again, we're spoiling here, but we're about to spoil anyways. If he's in jail, they're going to go talk to him at some point when they're White Tiger. So there's always going to be that little hanging thread. So yeah, we get out of there. We go back to Matt's apartment. He's with what's her name? Gwen? Not Gwen? No. Heather Glenn. I don't know why I said Gwen, because Gwen is Gwen. You can only have one Gwen.
That's okay. There's too many names.
Yeah, Heather Glenn. He's with the therapist Heather Glenn, and they're on a little date night at his apartment. And he talks about the tradition after they win a case. Him and Foggy would open this bottle that they bought when they first opened their practice. And he said that for a long time, they didn't get a chance to open it much. And obviously, this is a different bottle from when they first opened it. Mm-hmm. But I really like that little point of when we first opened. When he's saying when we first started, we didn't get to open this much.
Yeah.
I really like that line.
I like the tradition of them having something that was keeping Foggy in the story, mm-hmm. but then also reminding you that they started as nobody, and now, even though he's a big deal now, he wasn't always a big deal.
Yeah. And then they toast to Hector winning, good life, and Foggy Nelson.
Yes.
They're talking. She's trying to get him to open up about Foggy, but you can tell he's not there.
He's not there yet. Yeah.
No. But she again, as a therapist, she understands. No, I don't need to push. Let's just wait. We'll eventually get there. So we got Fisk. He does say, actually, before that happened, Fisk did ask his dude played by Gandolfini's son to get BB back in there for an interview, and his chief of staff goes, "Well, we have people at the Times." He's like, "No, I need to talk to BB."
Mm-hmm.
And interspersed throughout this episode, there's been little pieces from her.
Yes.
Of her interviewing people on the street, asking them about the trial of Hector Ayala, and they're all just like, "He ain't gonna get a fair trial. It's not fair." And like talking about like the racism of it all and things like that, and the fact that it was the cops kind of railroading him and things like that. So
Is BB a part of the comics, or is she created just for the show?
I honestly am. I don't, because her uncle Ben Urich is from the comics.
Mm-hmm. So, because I take her character and the snippets that we're giving very much. I mean, I know this is not about the Penguin, but where we got a character that was created for the audience to connect the human side of the bad guy.
Yeah, because
So, and she's very much like the connection to the common people of the city, so that we see how the common people feel about what's going on, more so than just the main central characters that the show is telling us how to feel.
yeah, she is made for this show. I just checked it.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of her in comics. Again, my comic history for the last probably
Yeah.
15 years is a lot. It's pretty low. But yeah, and again, it's part of it was they got rid of Ben in season 1, her uncle.
Mhm.
So part of, like, it kind of gives also a way to get back, kind of bring that character back, but in a different way.
You've
Which I
got the
really do.
thread, the tie that, keeps the canon sort of alive, but also making it new. So,
And
yeah.
again, you can put her into storyline situations from the comics that maybe Ben would have been in. You can put her into those places, but it feels like a younger, more updated world because she's a young journalist doing it all digitally, which
Yes.
makes way more sense in the world we live in than Ben Urich, the old paper pusher, the old newspaper guy.
Yeah,
Like,
because this is
it
supposed to be
makes,
like 2027 right now, I think, in this story, if I'm not mistaken. So it would make
yeah,
sense that a current timeline would be current technology.
yeah, so it makes more sense to have him at that point.
Mhm.
So yeah, after the dinner and everything, Fisk is being interviewed by BB, and he says that Hector's trial was a miscarriage of justice. And as he's making the speech, it intersperses with Hector putting on the white tiger costume. And so he put in, and he goes out into the streets, and he says a vigilante murderer roams the streets, and an NYPD veteran detective, or NYPD vet, lies dead. And so he's out he's out in the street. Fisk says a man who wears a mask is a coward. Vigilantes aren't heroes.
Mhm.
Uh, he ran on a promise, and the acquittal of Hector Ayala demands he keep it. The rule of law must prevail. And
Yeah.
we see him walking, and he turns his head. As he turns back, Hector gets shot in the head. White Tiger is shot and killed.
The baiting of White Tiger, I thought, was really interesting too during this whole monologue by Fisk, who, I mean, the law must prevail coming from a bad guy is funny in itself, but you could hear that they were clearly baiting the White Tiger into that alley,
Mhm.
the hooting, the hollering. And I was just like, oh.
The woman
And
screaming, all
yeah,
that, yeah.
and and you're like, don't go there. Like, you're trying to.
And so a man kind of standing over Hector, and he turns towards the camera and walks towards camera, and all you see is the goddamn Punisher logo on the t-shirt, and all I could think was, that's not Frank Castle.
That's exactly what I thought too. And I said that out loud to myself, staring at the TV. I said, that's not him. That's somebody who's either trying to pin it on him or one of his like groupies. So,
Again, I know there was a storyline in the comics where there was like an anti-vigilante group that used the Punisher as a symbol, but he didn't like that because, while he is a vigilante himself,
Mhm.
but he also has a very different code than most vigilantes
Yes.
in the Marvel world. So they use that as a way and use that as a symbol to do bad things. Yeah,
Because he
I was
very
like,
much only went after bad people, pretty much, right? The
yeah.
Punisher?
Again, I know there's a story where he's kind of going after Daredevil in season 2,
Mm-hmm.
but that was more because he was under beliefs of certain things, and
Mm-hmm.
they weren't true. That's how they become friends and they work together. But again, I'm very much interested in seeing where this goes, because I feel like because the scene I saw in the trailer, Frank Castle's in prison.
Yeah.
Remember, he was in prison. So is he going to get arrested here for this? Because somebody saw the Punisher skull and he's going to end up in jail?
I mean, it would make sense. Like,
Yeah.
you know, unless he's already in jail, but then I don't know why we're seeing the shirt. You know what I mean? So,
But again, to that, it's again the anti-vigilante, like there's the anti-vigilante groups who use Punisher as their symbol
mhm.
because they say violence can finish it because he's very it's not different, but it's different in their heads.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they use him as a symbol.
I mean, this is following the normal, I don't want to say the normal format for these type of shows. There's 9 episodes, and episode 3 is often the story leaping platform for the rest of the season. So we'll get a, you know, very strong story based episode, and then we should launch on 4. And we're getting, I do believe, 5 and 6 a double episode, which makes me think something big is going to go down in those episodes.
Yeah, I really feel something's happening. Hello,
Yeah.
Astrid.
And I don't know whether we're getting the double episodes strictly so that we get the episodes finished before Easter, or if they're doing a double because there's a big plot point at that point.
Yeah, because if it had gone by schedule, I think was it 18th of 4, 5, 6.
It'd been the 22nd would have been the
7th,
final
8th,
episode if we didn't, and now we're getting it on the 15th, which is before Easter.
Yeah. So, and again, they haven't announced what the end of the season going to be. We could end up getting a double episode at the end. We could all end on the 8th. So that gives us what, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks till
The schedule I'm seeing is showing the 15th as the final episode, but I mean, obviously things can change.
Yeah, I'm looking at Wikipedia and it shows the last 3 episodes as TBA. So I have no idea what the action. Because again, don't think anybody knows because Marvel can do whatever the hell they want.
Exactly. It's the thing with streaming, right? You're not restricted to TV schedules, right? So.
Yeah, I'm excited. Me and Ed both praised the first 2 episodes. Again, in the storytelling that they did was so good. I heard a lot. Again, it wasn't until after I watched it that I was reading a lot of people hated on that episode.
On the first one or this one?
The first one. Especially the first episode because of all that CGI during the fight.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that. I found it very, and I complained about that a little bit too, because I found, why couldn't they have used stunt doubles? Like, or something. It felt very jarring, some of the scenes that felt very CGI, and it was obviously CGI, and that took me out of it.
Well, the biggest one was him swinging through the city.
Yes.
Spider-Man style, as I called it. That was, if you would have got rid of that, the rest of the CGI wouldn't have bothered me as much because that one was so over the top. But again, even the CGI doesn't bother me because I found
the rooftop fight scene was a little jarring to me. Some of the flips and some of the parkour things I found very blurry when I was watching them. And again, that could be just my old eyes.
Yeah. Again, when I watch a lot of this stuff, I watch it either on my phone or on my laptop.
Fair.
I'm not watching on a big ass screen like most people are.
Yeah.
So for me personally, the CGI doesn't look too bad to me. Like I praise She-Hulk, and everybody shits on the CGI from that show.
She-Hulk was what it was, though. So it was camp sort of thing, right? So,
but again, it looked just fine to me. And this CGI looked just fine to me.
And I think if you're watching it on a smaller screen, yeah, I could definitely see that it wouldn't stand out quite as much.
Again, I could watch it on a big screen and it still wouldn't bother me. CGI not being great doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah.
The only thing that stood out to me of it all was the swinging. But again, we're getting into really good story now. Like I love the story that they're telling here, and with the death at the end, it really kicks it up going into whatever next week's episode is going to be.
And you have to think they're going to have to spring into this. I mean, they left it on such that shot of the shirt with the Punisher logo. I mean, they have to spring off of that quickly because I think you're on episode 3. You just finished episode 3. A lot of people will give a show 3 episodes to catch them. So that was a great ending. I think people will stick around to see what happens in 4, but you need to hook these people in now.
Well, again, and if you really look at the framing of it from other shows, look at WandaVision. The first 3 episodes were all done in the sitcom style,
Yeah.
and right at the end was where she blew. I can't remember her name right now,
Yeah.
but Captain Marvel's friend. She blew her out of the town, and you see her land outside the town at the end of the episode, and that was your hook. And then that's where it ramped, and it showed you real life in the 4th episode. So I feel like we're going in 4th episode. We're gonna find out what Frank Castle's been doing for the last one. I think this
and
is
everybody
where
knows
Frank
he's in the
Castle's
show. Just show me him now.
well, and I think that's what with this piece, it's foreshadowing. The next episode is going to be all about Frank Castle. Or not, maybe you're going to get a bunch of Matt stuff in there too, but it's going to be focused. Maybe he's
like a side story sort of thing.
Well, maybe Matt's trying to get Frank out of prison if he's in prison. Because again, the scenes I've seen, he's in prison. So maybe Matt's trying to get him out. Maybe it's something like that. Like, we don't know, but I'm very excited to see where this goes next week.
I agree. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really enjoying it. One thing I will say too is that I like that the show is dark in tone, but not dark in color. As someone who is, sometimes I just really struggle with a lot of programming, and I'm like, why is this so dark that I need to turn the brightness full tilt on my TV to see it? Like,
yeah. And again, I look at this, that was a thing with the original Daredevil show.
Yes.
It was everything was kind of muted down, and yeah, it was a little dark for me. Like, I like, give me some dark feel, but you don't have to make it look super dark to me. It can be bright. It can be bright. Like when it was the nighttime at the end of the episode and White Tiger's walking out, everything. You can see everything. Everything was glowing like a yellow hue to everything. I really liked that because you could see everything so well, and I liked it. And yeah, it just
it definitely has a feel, like a good feel to it. It gives you that sort of that film noir sort of feel when they're walking the streets, and I really, really like that.
Oh yeah, I love it. I think the feel is just almost perfection here. And again, they've to me so far they've told 3 perfect stories so far. There hasn't, like, episode 1 hit you like a brick, like a brick wall punching you in the face. Episode 2 built some really great story. Episode 3, all the court stuff, everything really shows how Matt's evolved in his life and what he's been doing. And the ending it sets you into episode 4. I'm super excited. And
I'm really curious where Fisk's PA, the young guy that's played by Gandolfini's son, what he's doing, because he's got to be some kind of sleazeball doing something, right? Like, he's just too much. He's just too much for me right now. So I think he's up to something.
Yeah, Daniel Blake is the character. I just looked at played by Michael Gandolfini. Yeah, he seems way too eager in certain things, and he comes off super sketchy.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. Like, he's really trying to replace that chief of staff, right? Like, he's really trying to, I'll do whatever you need, and he's leaning on him to get the contacts with BB and stuff. And I definitely think he's going to play into something more nefarious going forward, whether he's actually working for Vanessa or, one of these other things. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that character as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. So, we will be back next week to cover episode 4. Myself and Ol Ed will be here next week. But then in 2 weeks for episodes 5 and 6, Ed will be off because he'll be having surgery that week. So joining me on that episode, once again, will be not Ol Ed. Peggy is coming back for episodes 5 and 6 in 2 weeks. So ladies and gentlemen, just get ready because it's going to be a whole lot of fun because we're going to be going through 2 full episodes, and I cannot wait because something is going to happen.
Yeah, it has to be. That double episode has me hyped already. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's just, something's coming, and next week's going to ramp up and then it's just going to start firing in those 2 episodes. I can't wait.
Absolutely.
So, before we get out of here, I just got to find, I don't know if it's in here. Please tell me it's in here. Or do I have to go over to mine? I think it's in here. I don't know. I know it's in mine, so I'm going to go to mine. That's not mine. Just looking for your stuff, but I don't know where it is.
Oh, I don't need a little dealie. It's fine.
Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can catch me at on Twitter and Instagram and Threads at _Ophelia_Payne. but I am more often than not on Blue Sky now, where you can find me just at Ophelia Payne. And I am going to be back here in 2 weeks doing the double episode, and I am super excited about it. So thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm always happy to have you. Again, yeah, you were on for our Captain America review. I love having you on for these shows. So I want to thank you so much for joining me here. So you can find this guy, me, on the X at on the X Blue Sky at that Canada guy, TikTok or not Tik. You can find me on TikTok technically, but I don't really go on there. Instagram and Threads at that Canada dude. You can find me back here on Sunday, where I will be chatting. I'm going to be chatting F1. Me and Mark are taking over the show.
Wow.
Bobby and Ed can sit there and listen because the first race of the F1 season goes down at 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, our time, Peggy. I get to watch that race from Australia. I can't wait. The season looks crazy.
11 p.m.?
Yeah, it's coming out of Australia.
Oh, it's Australia. So. That makes sense. Yeah.
On Saturday night. I can't wait. The driver changes everything. So come check out me and Mark, who is a huge F1 fan, bigger than me for sure, because I've only been watching for about 3 years. He's been watching forever. Nice. Come check out there, and all the other stuff we're going to talk about on the show, the wrestlings, everything else. Probably talk a little bit of Maple Leaf Pro, which has happening on Friday and Saturday. Probably have a little chat about that between me and Bobby, because we're both going to be watching that this weekend. So come check all that out this Sunday on Point of View. Check out all the other stuff on this channel. And thank you all so much for coming and watching this video. Peggy, thank you so much for joining me here. I really do appreciate it. Have a good night, everybody.